Hey guys, Dion Taylor here. The last time I wrote an article and recorded a video on field service inspections was back in June of 2020. So in this particular video, I'm going to discuss all of the new features and added functionality since June 2020. And I'm also going to talk about the features that will be available in the new update 8.8.32.52. This is an update that will be pushed to your environment early January 8th, but you can also manually start this update so that you have access to that functionality. Let's check it out. So in order to get to the inspections, you have to navigate to the settings area once you're logged into the field service app. And then if you scroll down a bit, you see inspections under the work order section. So I'm just going to go ahead and open my asset inspection. And the first thing that I wanted to mention is that we now have this export to PDF button. And what this allows us to do is basically just export. I'm going to go ahead and save this so I can show this to you. Export the questions into a PDF table, as you can see here. Now, this does not, unfortunately, allow us to grab the data that's in there and anything like that, right? It's just the questions that are in that inspection. Then we also now have a revise button on the top. If you click here on versions, normally you would only see the published version, right? And that's obviously right after you created your inspection and then published your inspection. What you can do is that when you click on revise, you will note that now there's going to be a draft inspection sitting in there as well. Now, keep in mind that all of the existing work order service tasks that have this inspections linked to them, they will not be updated with that new inspection, even after you published your changes. Only newly created work order service tasks will get updated with this new inspection. Now, let's take a look at some of the enhancements with the questions. So I'm actually going to go and drag a text box onto here just to kind of show you some of the changes that we have here. So previously we only had single line and multi-line as an input type, but as you can see now we also have the ability to make that a barcode field so that the technicians can use their mobile device as a barcode scanner, right, to put data in this particular question. Let's go back here to my toolbox. Now, you also see here this matrix type of question, and I actually already put it on here. Let me scroll down here. That's what this is. So if you just go ahead and put that on the questionnaire, or I should say the inspection, you'll see that, right? You can give it a question name, right? Let's just go ahead and click here on some of those advanced properties. So check machine parts, right? I can give that a title as well. I'm going to say check machines part 2 because you see here that it wants me to actually give it a unique name, whether or not that's required. And then I can also name those columns, right? So I can first of all name them. I'm going to get into that in a second, but you also have some different types of data entry, right? Do we want to put a drop down in there, a number field, or a text box? So you can choose between 3 of those. And then of course, if you want to add a new column, you can see you can just add those very quickly and then remove them obviously the same way, right? I can change the order in here as well, just move them up and down. And again, right? And then we're going to go into the editing of those columns. So what do we want them to be called? I'm going to say part name, right? You can put that title in there as well. And then what is going to be that placeholder placeholder, right? So that's kind of what you see here. Enter part name, enter part number. That's my placeholder. So enter part name. And there we go. And then I can just go back to that directly from within here, right? And now you see that this has been changed. So let's take a look at the preview to kind of see what that looks like. I'm going to go down here, right? And then now I can just go ahead and enter a part name, part ABC, part number 1, 2, 3, and that one has passed. Now, if I need to do another one, I can just add a row, right? As many rows as I want. So I think this is a really nice feature that was added to Dynamics 365. And let's go back to the designer here. Now, another thing that has been added since I did my last article and my last video, which was in June of 2020, is the ability to add pages, right? You can just very quickly click here on add a page, and that will allow you to set up additional pages in here as well. And this is kind of nice because from pages, we can then go to the logic, which then allows us to, right, let's just do a question, inspection date, contains data, is not empty, right? Then we can make a page visible. So this is another thing that was added, right? Both the pages and then the ability to use that in your logic as well. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. I don't need this logic. I'm going to go back to the designer. I don't need page 2. So the other thing I wanted to show you is the entity lookup. You can actually have one entity lookup depend on another one. So as you can see, I have here entity lookup for a service account. If I look in here, you can see here service account. This is the account entity, and it's looking at the account name. Well, you can see here that it says depends on, right? So for this particular one, I can't do anything with that depends on because this is my first entity question. But if you look at my asset entity question, I can now say that that one actually depends on that service account lookup. So I'm going to go ahead and put that customer asset in here. And that is it. I can just go ahead and save that. So now we can have those dependencies. Previously, we would just have a list of customer assets, and then we didn't even know which account that belonged to. So now with this depends on functionality, that really helps with that, right? We can just now start to filter out, in this case, a list of customer assets. So let's go back down here. I'm going to delete this one. And this now looks good. And then lastly, I wanted to show you also that picture type of questions that you have here, or I should say the file type of questions. That actually is going to look different now in the mobile application. People will be able to now, instead of having to first take a picture and then upload that file, they're going to be able to take that picture immediately and attach that. And then on top of that, they're even going to have the ability to put some data, a description, I should say, regarding that picture as well. Okay, so let's just go ahead and save this inspection. And then I'm going to publish this new inspection. And then if I go to versions, as you can see, now you again only see that published version of that inspection. So now let's go to the schedule board, and I have a work order here that I'm going to add. That's service task 2, inspection, and I'm going to save and close that. And then let me schedule that to myself. Here we go. Okay, let's pull up the mobile application now. And here is my work order. I'm going to go directly into service. And let's go ahead and open that inspection. Here is that service account. So that's his Borg Warner. Sure, let's put in a date. And now the asset, we should only get a list of assets that are related to that account. And that is true. Let's say that's just the printer, model 3. We did all of these things and then some other stuff too. Got some numbers in here. Temperature check. And then this is what that matrix looks like, right? Part name, toner, 1, 2, 3. Select an option, pass or fail, right? And then I can just add that row like we just saw earlier. This is what I was talking about in regards to, right, those buttons. I can now very quickly just take a picture, right, versus having to choose a file. So let me just go ahead and do that. Taking a picture here, use it. And here I can add my captioning to that file. Oops, I just hit, let me just do that again. Here's the captioning. This is a picture. And then I can save that captioning. And then I can save that. And I can mark that as completed. Now, one more thing I wanted to mention in regards to inspections. Currently, we don't really have a way yet to create a report or anything, but that's going to change very, very quickly. So if you click here on the service area and you go to the settings area and then field service settings, you can see here now that there's an inspection area on here as well, a tab. So you can now enable analytics and then you can choose what that frequency should be. What this is, or I should say when you turn this on, some of that inspection data will then be parsed into the customer voice tables. So with that data now in those customer voice tables, that's going to allow us to then report on that data, right? By using tools like Power BI. So I just wanted to go ahead and share a Power BI report that I actually got from the PM for inspections, Neha. And thank you again, Neha, so much for all of your help with inspections and giving us some access to some of these things. So you can see here, right? We can see how many inspections tasks there are, responses, completed inspections, etc. And you can see here the work orders and the service tasks related to those inspections. So I can even drill into that, right? These are the questions, right? You have here the question text, the name, and the response. So for example, if I wanted to drill into that for work order 6, right? And then I wanted to drill into a particular question. Let's just click on this one, or I should say service task. Then I get those responses in this window below here. So I think this is very exciting. This is actually a report that Microsoft is going to share with us. We're going to be able to get access to that report very, very soon. That's going to be coming from that doc side. But again, I just wanted to share with you some of this new and exciting stuff that's coming out very, very soon for us. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another video again. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and have a great week.